Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of those people, I hope you enjoyed the conversation and thanks so much for coming back. But for everyone out there who's new to the show, welcome. Feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer, soda, water, coffee in the fridge. Cheers to everyone out there on the internet.
The band, or I guess leading up to the band, you know, how does a band get started where members don't know each other and they're recording music? Like what was the origins of the band and how did you all meet each other? Was
all faith in Kyle on that one.
Yeah, it's
like I said, when I started the band, I just put everybody in a group chat. I've known Jimmy for a really long time. I met Sean because of his wife. I'd known her forever before they were married. And Alex, me and Jimmy actually played in a garage band with him a couple years back. So we all kind of knew each other. And I knew who knew what to do instrumentally. Like I knew Sean did vocals. Jimmy was able to do basically every instrument on the planet. And I knew Alex did drums. So I kind of was like, let's just kind of figure it out. And we went from there. And with recording that first one, like I said, we did Pro Tools first. So we just kind of tracked the beginning parts with us three, and then he came over one day that he was busy and they still haven't met. And so we just kind of did his thing, and then we sent it to him, and we just kind of went from there.
Yeah, totally. So you all didn't go to school together or anything like that. You all are from different neighborhoods and different cliques of people.
Yeah.
Me and Alex went to school together, but not at the same time.
He graduated as I was going into freshman year.
Yeah.
So it was still separation, but him and I are close in age. Kyle and I are the same age, but he went to the school district over from mine. So we still kind of knew each other, but not super well until we ended up playing in that band together a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's cool. It's interesting how bands form now, because with your connectivity through all of the different platforms, it's really not that hard to make something happen if you dig a little bit and reach out to the right people. You know, I think that it's honestly impressive. There's not anybody that was involved in this project that is no longer involved. Has it been you four since the start?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's really cool, because a lot of times with the growing pains of a band, sometimes you have a rotating cast of characters because it's hard to find the right people.
We immediately clicked right off the bat with writing. Yeah. We started off writing with live writing. We'd go to our practice space and grab our instruments and write like that. But then Alex started going to school for music production and stuff like that. So he started learning programs better, and we just kind of write through those now. We find it to be easier. You don't have to make the long drive, and it's just editing everything, adding backtracks as you go and stuff. It just...
Yeah, basically demoing everything else through ourselves and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and going elsewhere to do the final tracking and stuff.
Yeah, that's with my band Normal Creatures, that's pretty much how we write everything, because it's really hard to make the time to get everybody together in a room. You know, we get together maybe once a week if we're lucky, because we're life.
Yeah,
everybody's
everybody's
gonna
busy.
do.
Yeah.
But the thing that's convenient about the music that we write, because it's super backtrack heavy and shit like that, is we pretty much just write songs in a DAW, you know, and then learn this, and then when everybody gets together, it's okay, we know it, instead of writing in a jamming sort of way, which is I don't understand how bands can do that, because I don't even think we do that with Grey Walker anymore. It's all behind the scenes, get the structure really tight, then learn it.
I would probably say that changing to writing in the DAW is probably the reason why our sound changed a lot more, because since we're a one guitar band, it's kind of hard to write live because you don't have that other guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't play everything at once.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like that was kind of limiting us a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely helped a lot, because our whole EP that we put out, that was all written together live. And then ever since we started demoing everything out ourselves and stuff like that, especially on a lot of the newer stuff that we haven't put out yet, that's kind of just been on a backlog and stuff, we'll start with the backtracking first and stuff like that, because we're trying to go more backtrack heavy and stuff like that, and have more just sound effects and orchestral stuff and stuff like that. So get a lot of that stuff in there while we're writing it and stuff like that. And then he said too, we're adding more like lead parts, like with guitars and stuff like that, which we couldn't do before because you can't hear it back at the same time. So it's like, it's been a lot different, but it's been a lot more helpful, I think.
It adds a lot of clarity to the writing process too, because I feel like whenever you're in a room with everyone, you're always focused on what you're doing with like minimal attention to all the details around you, and you don't have good acoustics in a practice spot. At least I don't know anyone that does. So you kind of have just like this wall of noise where you're trying to hear yourself through this nasty mix, and it's all in real time. So you don't get to appreciate the music that you're creating as you're making it. And there's no like real reflection besides like setting up a phone and trying to record it and seeing like what you can make out of that mess. And like, you can create something so much better just by being able to like all look in on it at once and like, I don't like this needs change, or like, what if you did this here, and just like be able to see the whole picture rather than just like such a small part of it.
Right.
Yeah, totally. And I think for bands that are getting into doing backtrack stuff, I think it's huge to like give all of that backtrack shit a purpose from the start. Because a lot of times you'll have bands that like, they do all their backtrack shit after the fact, and it's like, this doesn't even sound like this fucking belongs here. It's just like you're just throwing shit in to throw shit in instead of actually making it a part of the composition.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that was we're still currently working on a bunch of stuff, but it always feel like when we would first run through something that we would have a bunch of good ideas and we would just put them into one song, but nothing really like meshed well. You know what I mean? Like there would just be like instant transitions to parts, and we would always end up with like just a silent part, like somewhere near the middle. We just didn't know what we were doing.
We'll figure it out later. We'll put it in later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a lot different now. Like especially like I said, with the stuff that we've been writing like the past like month or two and stuff like that. Like I'll actually start with like the backtracking like first and kind of come up with like a melody and stuff like that, and then like we'll write guitars around that and stuff like that, and kind of just like you said, like make everything like mesh well and stuff like that, instead of coming up with individual ideas and being like, well, they're all good on their own, but they don't really work well together.
Yeah, I guess this can be said about pretty much any genre of music, but I think especially with like metal and stuff that leans more on the extreme side, where you're playing a lot with a ton of dynamics, like fast parts, slow parts, loud parts, kind of quiet parts, but they still sound evil. The transitions between those parts can like really make or break the song. It's something as like dumb as like a whack drum fill will ruin the whole fucking song if it doesn't transition. And if you get that transition right, that's that kind of thing that gives you like that, like, I just shit my pants face, like, oh, like, you know. So the transitions are a huge thing. And I don't think a lot of times newer bands think about that. You just get like the whole riff salad of like cool part, and then it just is a mess.
Yeah, transitions are rough because me personally, I'm just real picky with it. I don't want to like just do something basic that like everybody else does. So it just makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, I guess too, as being a guitar player in a metal band, I think it's real easy to overthink and tend to want to overcomplicate something because, it's metal. It's supposed to be technical. But I also think that if you listen to like some of like the bigger bands in the genres, whether they're bands that you like or you don't like, a lot of times it's not as technical as it seems. It's just like you never heard it before. You didn't come up with it. So it works for you. But it's not always super duper technical, right? But the transitions work. I think that there's trying to find this right balance of like creating something that is unique and it's like your own thing, it's your own style, and it's just biting another artist, right? But if you like overcomplicate it, then it becomes unreliable. And like the average listener that isn't a musician is going to be like, what the fuck was that? Like, like they don't need to hear like, oh, like we did this transition with like a slight key change and like a tempo shift because, it would be really artsy, but it's not reliable for the listener. They need like, you kind of have to like guide them along like I don't know, it's like a roller coaster or something. It can't be too jerky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to entertain, not impress. Because if you impress, you're most likely going to get people that are going to listen once or watch once and then be like, okay, that was cool, and they're going to move on.
It's forgettable.
Yeah, whereas if it's entertaining, it's going to be you want to create something that you want people to be like, I'm going to put that in my playlist. I like that.